So I got a question in my group referring to how to turn a GIF into a sprite sheet in Unity. And I've been wondering this myself, and I'm either blind or there really is nobody who has decided to make a tutorial based on this. So I figured I would teach myself and spread the knowledge. So here's how we'll do it. First, we will take the GIF that we want. I'll be using this one because I know it's got a scenario in it that will be able to demonstrate specifics. So we will save it. I will save it here. And now we have our GIF. Make sure you save it as a GIF, because if you don't, it just won't work. It'll save as a still image. So we're going to hit create sprite over here. And we are going to drag and drop our GIF into the website and import it as a sprite sheet. I left everything default. It seems to be a smart program. Nothing's gone wrong so far with that, so I will hit import. Once it has imported, you'll hit OK, and then you will hit the X. You can see here that this is our functioning sprite sheet, and over to the right we can see it in action. Make sure it looks good. Now what we'll do once everything looks good is you'll hit export, hit PNG up here, and you will download it. Keep in mind, I kept the defaults as well, and you're going to want to make sure to memorize the columns and rows. So this will be a 12 by 12. So I will download. I will save it, and now we have our PNG. This is our image. So we will take that and we will bring it into our Unity project. Now that we have it in our Unity project, we're going to create a new material. And I will name it sprite sheet. So now we have the material we'll put the sprite sheet on. Nope, you can see my failed attempt here. And we have the actual sprite sheet. So I'm going to put it on the wrist. So I will right click particle system, and this will be our sprite sheet. Set the speed to 0. The shape will be at 0, which will be 0.01. And we will click texture sheet animation here. That will be our sprite. Remember, we made it 12 by 12. That is the number I had you refer to here, 12 by 12. And if you forget, you can open the image and you can count each one, as I'll show you here. So to make it an actual sprite sheet, we will change the texture type to sprite, the sprite mode to multiple, and we will enter the sprite editor. Click apply, and it should bring us to our sprite editor. Here we go. So this is where you could count. If I were to count this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This is a 12 by 12. So we will hit slice, grid by cell count, up here slice, cell count, and columns and rows 12 by 12, slice. Now that it is sliced, you will notice we have the entire bottom row here. So what I will do is I will just delete them. What I would recommend though is you would actually make it 11 or 12 by 11, 12 columns, 11 rows. That way, you'll see why in a second, but it'll look smoother because missing one frame of your animation isn't that big of a deal if you're in a case like mine. So I will delete them. And up at the top right, I will hit apply and just make sure everything is smooth and looking how you have all the boxes where each one is selecting an individual frame in the animation. Unity's pretty smart with that stuff. And then we will X out. And now we'll go back to our particle system, and we're going to open the renderer in it. And this will be where we will put our material, which will be the sprite sheet. So we'll drag and drop that on here. And then this is our actual sprite sheet. We'll drag and drop that on the particle. And now we have our functioning sprite sheet. Now as you can tell, the corners were a bit cut off there. You can fix it in Unity. Usually Unity's pretty smart with it. It's actually interesting because in the attempt I did a minute ago, that was not there, so maybe it had something to do with when I accidentally moved something and undid. It might have not worked too great, but anyways, you get the basics from this. So like I said before, now you notice how those frames at the end there that loop, they cut it out. They just don't look right, they don't fit. Although I guess technically in this they could fit since it's like a disco sprite, but most cases you're not going to want that. So one thing I found that works to help with that is you will click the frame over time here, bring up the curves menu, and that's about 11, well, it's exactly 11 frames of just nothing. So we'll move that down some so it ends at frame about 130, that's around the 11 frames. And if you'll notice, instead of giving that problem, it just freezes for a split second and then it loops back up. It looks better that way in most cases than having it just spaz. That's why, again, I said 11 by 11. Usually it looks a bit better. Maybe if I move it up some, it'll look smoother because it's freezing a lot. You just play with it and it'll freeze less if you get a good number for it. So yeah, that's how you get your sprite sheet functioning in Unity, and I hope that this helped someone.